Hi, this is Brett Blevins. You're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
Thursdays are the best.
The best.
They are.
The best.
It's a good day. So they don't have a
No
Wednesday
bears.
anymore.
Friday Eve.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that.
If I remember correctly, I don't know exactly what shows it was, but Thursday seemed to have been a really good night for TV.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Especially
it was
on
must-see
NBC.
TV. That was
Cosby,
must-see TV.
Seinfeld. Cosby before that, the Seinfeld Friends.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm not completely insane.
No.
Thursday was a big
Not-
TV
not in
night
this
for a long time.
instance.
Sunday was my big TV night.
Well, that's because, it's CBS. It's when all the old people are watching 60
No.
Ah.
Sunday nights on Fox. Sightings, Briscoe County Jr.
Oh.
Minutes.
Sightings,
X-Files,
Married with Children, Simpsons,
fucking-
X-Files.
Yeah. Fridays was
And the
great.
new local news at 10 o'clock.
Well. Hey, everybody. It's 11 O'Clock Comics. Episode 991. Countdown begins. And I am Vince B.
Oh, you are Vince B. You beautiful man. I am David A. Price.
This is true. And, of course, I am Gus the Antler Boy.
Wow. You've read something that I haven't.
I don't think
Yeah.
so, but okay.
Well, I'm not surprised.
No.
I'm intrigued. You are not Gus. Aunt Bunny. You are Jason.
No,
Wu.
Antler Boy, you clown. Aunt Bunny. Aunt Bunny coming to get me.
You said Gus.
I said Gus the Antler
Yeah.
Boy. Then you
Right.
said
Well,
Aunt
Gus is
Bunny.
Aunt
Right.
Bunny. Yeah.
No, I know. but-
Right. Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
These kids.
Lord.
You're not Gust. You're Jason Wu.
Gus. You're not Wind.
You're not Gust.
bet.
You're Jason Hood. Everybody here together on another episode of 11 O'Clock Comics where we just talk
Wow.
about nothing. Yeah, really rough sandpaper.
We are. This is our first episode. folks.
Yes. We just talking comics brought to you by cheapgraphicnovels.com. Cheapgraphicnovels.com have everything you want at the price you want to pay. What are these things you say? Well, I say omnibus editions, trade paperbacks, OGNs, which are original graphic novels, manga, art books, all that stuff at a fraction of the retail price. And if you're a first-time customer, here's what you're going to do. Order something small. Max will reply to you with an email saying, thank you for ordering. We understand it's on its way. You're going to reply to that email message saying, my friends at 11 O'Clock Comics told me to shop here. And Max is going to gift you free shipping on your second order. It's an incredible value on top of an already incredible value, low prices on everything you want. As if that weren't enough, you get specials too.
Oof. Do you get specials?
Right.
Such as DC Finest, Science Fiction, the Gorilla World trade paperback for $23.99. Things got a little bit hairy in the DC universe during the 50s and 60s. Experience Gorilla World, an alternate reality where great apes reign supreme in the pages of Action Comics, Strange Adventures, and Mystery in Space, collecting up the sci-fi saga as part of the DC Finest line. For the first time, this volume collects Action Comics numbers 183 through 196, Strange Adventures number 35 through 48, and Mystery in Space numbers 16 through 22. Brain Damage hardcover for $22.49. Shintaro Kago made his English debut with Dementia, 21 delighting and disgusting readers with his penchant for body horror, black comedy, and the surreal paired with his emphatic, kinetic art style. Kago returns at the height of his powers with Brain Damage, where he dials up the gore and absurdity to new heights, collecting 4 new short manga stories, a tantalizing blend of the hilarious and the macabre. And for Jason, because you're going to hear about it soon, 10,000 Ink Stains, a memoir hardcover, $38.49. Dark Horse Books proudly presents this hardcover memoir collecting showcasing the work of the legendary Eisner Award-winning comic book creator Jeff Lemire, who has created some of the most iconic stories in modern comics, featuring his brilliant work from Sweet Tooth, Essex County, Black Hammer, Descender, and so much more. Lemire takes the reader book by book, writing essays about the making of each project, showcasing artwork from all of them, details his personal life during the creation of each book, sharing some never-before-seen process material on each book and unpublished stories as well. This is the ultimate book for Jeff Lemire and modern comic book fans.
See, that sounds very interesting to me.
Well, you're going to hear about it.
Usually I scoff at the overused word legendary because everybody's legendary. As soon as they publish a book,
sure.
legendary Howard Chaykin, which is true, but humor me. But I think that legendary in association with Jeff Lemire is not overstating his accomplishments.
Agreed.
Yes. And two, I'm sure you know, somebody somewhere did a study based on sales figures, and they found out that in the Silver Age, if you put a gorilla on the cover, it sold more copies than usual. And usually it was DC. Just stick a gorilla on the cover, and people just bought it. Like, that's amazing to me. I don't consider a gorilla a draw, do you? Unless it's Planet of the Apes.
No.
It's weird, but it's
In fact,
fascinating.
I kind of consider it a detraction.
No, don't say that.
Yeah.
Well, you just don't like anything good. So, yes, cheapgraphicnovels.com. Jason hates them. You know why? Because there's so much goodness there.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Well, I'm drinking.
Like, but are you drinking the bubbly water like you've been?
No, I'm drinking wine. I stopped,
Oh shit!
Yeah, I stopped off at the whatever you call it, the wine garden, beer garden, whatever. Mm-hmm. This is from Chronic Cellars. It's a cab called Paso Robles, and and it's subtitled right here, right on the label. Jason Lick de Burros Taint. So I had to buy it. Like, I couldn't leave something that directly relates to my good friend Jason. Right. What did it say, David? Jason Licks de Burros Taint.
Wow.
Taint,
yes. So it's very good. That went over like a lead balloon. It's Paso Robles. It's delicious. And there's a skeleton on the label with a raven. Yes.
Nice. I am also drinking red wine.
Wow. What does yours say?
I don't have the bottle here, unfortunately. Hold on. It's I don't have that bottle.
Okay.
It's a red blend, Argentinian red blend with an octopus on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does it say anything on the label?
It does. I just don't have the bottle handy. So
you can make it up. Nobody's going to know.
Oh. Sorry, buddy.
Improv.
I don't know about that.
Good Lord.
Sorry, bro.
Should have been more stringent applications for this show.
Oh, I found it. Hold on. I found it. Octopada, Red Hills, Lake County. It's actually Cabernet. It's not a red blend.
And he plays it straight. Delicious. Thank you.
I'm just saying, dog. Yeah, Octopada.
Do not enter. Bathrooms in use.
Spaghetti.
I wish I wish we had a drink list instead of just a comic list. I would have cracked open a bottle. Instead, I've got the Bardstown bourbon whiskey.
Right. That's good.
It is good. I'm enjoying it.
So now, the reason we gather each and every week is to talk comics. Is to talk comics. Yeah. Let's start.
It is.
Let's start doing that.
Discussing comics?
Yes.
Is that what we should be doing?
Mm-hmm.
We should totally do that.
I love
Training wheels are off.
Is that what's right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm fucking with you. I will start off happily. As Dap alluded, and as you suggested, it sounds interesting. I was floored, gobsmacked, and overjoyed at 10,000 Ink Stains, a memoir, which, as Dap already mentioned, is fresh in our hands. It came out this past week. It is a beautiful hardcover, illustrated and prose memoir collection of Jeff's 25-year career. Listen, I have a lot of thoughts about this. I would characterize Jeff as a friendly acquaintance, right? If I'm being fair.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, no, meaning like I would love in my heart of hearts to call him a friend, but I don't know that like we know each other enough like that to like, you know what I'm saying? But I
Right.
absolutely can say unequivocally that he's a friendly acquaintance. You know, keep in touch with him, talk a couple times a year, just check in. You know, obviously he's been on the show a ton of times. I think anyone that's not brand new to the podcast knows we've all been massive fans of his entire career. And one of the cool things about people like Jeff and Matt Kent and Jim Rugg and, you know, many others, Matt Allison, like just so many others, but is that we, you know, Tony, is that we have in many ways, like our time podcasting has coincided with the vast majority of their careers.
Sure.
And we've literally been on the ride with them, good, bad, or indifferent, highs and lows, right? Peaks and valleys. And it's so they mean something. At least they mean, it may not be bilateral. Like, I don't know. Like Jeff didn't mention EOC in the memoir, but I feel a closeness to his career very much, like more than I think the average person is going to be reading this memoir. But that said, I think he does an amazing job. And what I'm really impressed by, and I give him immense credit, is that, it's incredibly raw and honest, you know, and I think that, even though Jeff has certainly done our podcast a ton of times and has done other media over the years, I think he's always been relatively closed off about his personal like views of the world and his personal life and his family, and respect to that, right? Like we've never pressed him on it. It's just the way he is, and I think a lot of people are like that, right? Like he's been very open about talking about his work. And his inspiration for the creative process, but he's rarely, if ever, shared his personal thoughts or emotions, and even with things like Essex County, which put him on the map for most people, you know, many people say, like, "Oh, is that about your childhood?" And even then, he'd be fairly evasive about it, right? Like, I don't think he'd ever really fully go into how biographical it was or wasn't. So, in many ways, this book was revelatory because if you're a fan of Jeff's, and in as much as we probably have an unhealthy fixation on the people like that we view as like heroes or that we're fans of, right? Like we probably want to know more about their personal circumstances than we have any right to. But it's interesting, an entirely different dynamic when the creator decides to share that with you, right? After essentially not choosing to share that with you for so long. And he acknowledges right up front in the book that he's fast approaching 50. I think he's 49, turning 50 in the next couple months. So he's my, you know, he's a contemporary and all that, and he's kind of just like reflecting back on his life, and he felt comfortable with where he is in life to kind of be more open about it. And I just gobbled the whole thing up, man. Like, first of all, the book is really well put together. It's effectively it's in chapters that are loosely chronological, and I say loosely because there are parts of the book where he understandably can't go full chronological. Like, for example, Sweet Tooth, because it ran for 5 years and he was working on lots of other stuff, he'll have like a chapter where he'll cover some of the other things he was working on during Sweet Tooth, like in like as a combined discussion, and then he has a chapter on Sweet Tooth, right? Because obviously that's in and of itself like such a massive thing. But for the most part, it's chronological. And I learned a lot, man. Like, again, for someone that I would have thought I knew pretty well, and you know that we've talked a lot. We've talked with him literally throughout his entire career. Like, I learned a lot. And if we ever have him back on the show, I came to realize, I think like the first few times we met him, and even the first time we had him on the podcast, he was still working as a chef at a restaurant. Like, he wasn't even like have money. He didn't have money to basically pay his wife's rent. Like, he was like. That's, you know, you forget when these creators get to this point of epic success that there was a time not that long ago when they were a literal starving artist and were making art with no reason or expectation or guarantee that they were going to be able to make a living off of it, much less have, you know, massive financial success. And it was cool to see him share that and share his journey of meeting his wife and having his kid, and throughout the book he's just super meticulous about where his head was with each project, you know, when he first got the inklings of a project, and then maybe like in some cases he didn't revisit it for 7 to 10 years. Other cases there were projects in the book that he's never really put out or worked on beyond it, but he may or may not go back to them at some point. There's projects that he started working on and got really far, and then it just never saw the light of day, and it sounds like he'll never put them out. It was just a remarkable journey and a quick read, and it's basically done where it's almost like it's formatted almost like a picture book. So not unlike, I'm sure, lots of art books, right? Where like Flesk would do, like Flesk is doing a TWJ soon, where you're looking at lots of different scanned art, whether it be sketches or photos or finished drawings, and then there's interstitial text within the pages. Almost like liner notes that talk about stuff, but it's written in his voice by him, so it reads like a biography, it's biographical, like a diary, and it's in his voice. And I just loved every bit of it, man. You know, like obviously, as a huge fan of his work, it was really great to see him walk back through it all, and you know, hearing just interesting things, like, you know, because even we've had conversations over the years where it'd be like, oh, why would Jeff's doing X, Y, and Z at Image, but he's doing this book at Dark Horse. Why is that, right? Like, why not just do them all at Image? And he talks about that in this book. Like for example, Black Hammer, and this is new to me. Black Hammer, when he broke big with Essex County and then to Nobody, and then shortly after that, he was getting asked by a lot of the different comics companies to pitch ideas, and he pitched Sweet Tooth at Vertigo to Karen Berger, and within like 2 weeks of that, he pitched Black Hammer to Diana Schutz at Dark Horse, and they both said yes. And obviously, he wanted to write and draw them, so he couldn't do both. So he ended up doing Sweet Tooth and had to backburner Black Hammer. And then, interestingly, like when it came time years later to revisit Black Hammer, number one, he wasn't in the position to draw it anymore himself because he had other things going on. But he had met Dean Ormston and wanted to work with him. But two, he was doing all of his stuff at Image at the time, but he felt he owed a debt to Dark Horse because they greenlit it back in the day. And even though he didn't do it with them, it was such a confidence boost that they greenlit it. So he felt he owed that book to Dark Horse. So, like, things like that, you know, and there's lots of anecdotes like that. Like, he talks about Vertigo, and, like, interestingly enough, Bloodshot is his longest-running book that he ever did, like, outside of his own stuff, which is crazy when you think about it. He did almost 50 issues of Bloodshot, which is crazy. Like, we loved it, right? But he in the book, he kind of speaks how it's one of the books that people very rarely ever talk to him about, or he feels like it's not like one of the lesser known things that he's done, but interestingly, it's literally his longest running thing he ever did. So yeah, just tons of that, and like, you know, again, we get a glimpse into his personal life, and I give him a lot of credit. He speaks a lot about his battles with depression and anxiety over his life, and how that has at times not derailed, but slowed down his career. You know, like at different windows of time, and then he's been able to kind of work through it. He talks about how... I
was going to ask about that because, you know, there was a time when we first started talking to him, he was excited and energized and just, Team Comics. And then one appearance he made on our show, he was very downbeat and morose. And then the next time he came on, and we were worried. The time after was like, well, what Jeff are we going to get? Are we going to get the last guy? Or are we going to get the guy that... But I mean, whatever happened, he was the original Lemire. So if the book goes into that, I would be very, very much interested.
It does. And what's interesting is, again, like, you know, because of our relationship with him, and really lots of creators, inevitably, while we have, I think, very candid conversations that we release to the listeners, there are always certain things that we maybe discuss before or after the episode, right? Or they'll say like, hey, you know, like, we can talk about this, but I don't want to talk about it while we're recording, right? And, you know, and to your point, there was a time that subsequent episode when he was kind of back to his normal happy self, he did share some things about the prior episode, you know, about why maybe he was not in the best headspace. And obviously we never talked about it because it wasn't our place to talk about it.
Right.
But in this book, he gets into like those phases of his career. Like, for example, and I don't have the like timeline, so I don't know if what I'm about to say lines up with like what we're just talking about with our episode appearances. But like he says, obviously how I remember vividly, like on one of his episodes that he was on with us, he I don't know if he broke the news, but it was kind of like early when he said, "Hey, I'm going to start writing for DC." Remember? Like we were like, "Oh, how cool is it?" Right? And it was like, and he talked about how like it's kind of fun that like because most back then it was like people thought like, "Oh, you're either an indie graphic novel comics guy or you're a superhero guy, and never the twain shall meet." And people like him and Kint, and others were trying to kind of break down that barrier because they grew up unapologetically loving superheroes and stuff. And he talks in the book about his time at DC and then his time at Marvel. And he says that, at the beginning of his time at DC, it was phenomenal. Like, he loved every bit of it. And then the New 52 was a fucking slog. And he felt like it was rudderless. And, editors would call him and many other creators and say, "Hey, pitch me this thing." And he'd be, like, out of the blue. And he said it would be frustrating because they were all, like, creators of friends and that they would know that, like, multiple writers were being asked to pitch the same idea, and, like, and how that affects your confidence and your your sense of worth,
Sure.
but like ultimately he was able to then eventually pitch Animal Man, which became a wonderfully fulfilling and creative experience to do, and then he did Green Arrow, which again, take it or leave it, but he said he really enjoyed that, and that's where he met Andrea Sorrentino, which, as we know, he's worked with continuously since, and he talks about it like very much like there were editors and he doesn't name names for the most part, which I respect, but he's like, there were editors I really clicked with and it was great, and then there were editors that were just he's like, I felt like they wanted to be the ones that were writing the book, but they weren't, so that they would, it was a pain in the ass, and then he gets real honest about his time at Marvel. He said he started working at Marvel after his DC exclusive came up, and he showed up to a Marvel retreat, his first Marvel retreat, and he said it was like culture shock because as much as DC had bureaucracy and there was some stuff that was wearing on him by the end of his time there, he said Marvel, it was like a big dick fest, right? He didn't use those words, but he was saying it was like a testosterone fest. Like, he walked into his first retreat and dudes were just coming at him, like shitting on all of his ideas, and it was like, he said it was just like testosterone and just not his vibe, like he's like, these were not my people. And then to his credit, he actually singled out Scotty, Jason Aaron, and Bendis as standout of outliers from the rest of the room. Like, he's like, there were a couple real ones, those guys were great, and I really appreciated like becoming friends and working with them. But it was like overall pretty hostile, competitive, like insidious environment where people, we felt like, were like trying to like backstab each other for the sake of their careers.
See, that's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit, because if I was on editorial and I saw my creators treating another creator like that, Lemire could have created something for Marvel that made them millions of dollars.
Yeah, for sure.
And these guys are just like shit all over him, and he's like, what the fuck I want to work for them for?
Yeah, and he was real honest. Like, he said, he did an X-Men run, which I'm sure many people don't much remember. And he said, he's like, I understand if most of you reading this don't remember it because it wasn't very good. And part of it was that I just didn't click with the editor. And basically I felt like I was just taking dictation from him. And so obviously I didn't put my best efforts into it. And also it was at the time when, you remember Marvel, like the movie stuff, they were having that dispute because they didn't own the X-Men. So they were making everything into Inhumans. Remember that? Like, when it was like, there were no X comics. It was like, he's like, so that was awkward. And he's like, and then he did, and when he was coming to Marvel, Axel asked him to do Hawkeye, which he didn't really want to do because Fraction and Aja had just finished their amazing run, and he was like, it's a perfect run. I don't want to step in and follow like a perfect run. But two, he had just done like a 2 or 3 year run on Green Arrow, and it was like, oh, now I got to, But he said he did it because he didn't want to be like, he was new to the company. He didn't want to be a diva, so he did it. And he said he's like happy with how it turned out, his and Ramon Perez's run. But he said, it wasn't like, but then he said he went from there to do Moon Knight, and he loved his Moon Knight run. And he said he's like super proud of it to this day, right, with him and Greg Smallwood. And so I just he's very candid, and he's like, this was cool. I vibed with this, I had a great time. This was not cool. I didn't really love this. He talks about projects that he thought like that he didn't think came out that well at first, like when he did them, and then he looks back on them and he thinks they're pretty good, or like vice versa. Like The Nobody was his follow up to Essex County, and he said while he was doing The Nobody, he had immense stress because with Essex County, no one knew who he was as he was making it. There was no expectation, and there was no rules. If he wanted to make a scene 10 pages, he could make it 10 pages. Like, it was just him sitting at his table for 3 years making a book. Once Essex County broke big and he was doing this follow up, he was worried about the sophomore slump, and because of the format of the Nobody, because it was part of those Vertigo graphic novels that they were doing at the time, it had to be 144 pages. Like couldn't be 143, couldn't be 145. So he said he had no experience at that point in his entire life of structuring a work that where it had to be a specific page count. So he said that was super stressful. But he said that he really didn't think much of the Nobody after he released it. But subsequently, over the last 15 plus years, he said he's never been to a con since then where at least someone doesn't bring up a copy of the Nobody and tell him that it's their favorite work that he's ever done. And so it helps him see the value in it that he didn't see originally. It's I just like the realness of him saying look, I don't think everything I ever did was great. I'm proud of my career, but not everything's great. And he says the favorite things I've ever done are Sweet Tooth, Underwater Welder, what else? I'm trying to think. There were 4 of them. Sweet Tooth, Underwater Welder, Royal City, and what's the last one? That'll come to me. But the point is, he names names. These are the things I'm most proud of. He's which is not to say I don't love a lot of the other things I did, but I just thought the whole thing was beautiful. It was just beautiful in how candid it was, man. We just don't get enough of that. And also, even though it's 2025 and we're far better about talking about our insecurities and our true feelings, I still will. It'll always warm my heart when a grown man of our age in our demographic is so willing and open and feels so at peace with themselves that they can be open and honest about feeling insecure or less than or depressed or angry. And I appreciate that because, again, it's not as unusual as it used to be, but it's still, there's way more people in our cohort that still don't feel confident sharing that stuff with anyone, than will. And so I just give this book 10 thumbs up, man. It's beautiful and I love it. And yeah, I'm thrilled that he made it, and I hope he's pleased with how it came out. I hope he looks at it proudly because it's a beautiful thing.
I got to get it.
I think if anyone's remotely a Jeff Lemire fan, it's worth your time and effort. I mean, because I think art books are super cool, right? They are really neat, but this is legitimate memoir. It's a real look into him as a human being, and it's not just about going down memory lane. Going down memory lane would have been super cool too. I wouldn't have been mad at that, but the fact that it's just so much a window into his mind. And he talks about making the Essex County show and show run and having show running that. He talks about the Sweet Tooth show and how it's a massive financial success, right? 60 million people watched it on Netflix, which is pretty crazy. But that he hated the creative process of because he had literally no say in it. He actually had no. It wasn't his show. It was Warner had full rights to it, so it wasn't he had any role in making of the show. And so I just again, it was he just really unvarnished truth about every phase of his career and what he liked and what frustrated him and all that. It was great.
Good.
Absolutely, man.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll just take the Andrea Sorrentino pages and cover them up or something.
Come on, dog. Don't be like that.
Just saying.
Come on.
Yeah.
First, that'd be
I got something.
I hope so, or you wouldn't be doing your job.
And I do my job very well. It is, let's see, this came out a while ago, maybe 2021, 2022, around there. It's published by Fantagraphics. It's written and illustrated by one of my absolute favorites, Dash Shaw. I don't know if you read this, Jason, but it's called New School.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Loved it.
It's an odd one, even for Dash Shaw.
Oh, you love it?
Oh, I loved it. I did.
Okay, yeah.
But it's a strange book, even for Dash. And that's saying something. Because Dash always brings something to the table that is surprising and different and novel and unexpected. And that's really hard to do when you have such a back catalog like his. All the books are different. All of the subject matters are different, more or less. And yet he manages to put his own little stamp on a thing that is seemingly mundane, but in his hands, not so much. At the center of this story is a man named Otis Sharp, who we're told is a leading figure in the avant-garde theme park movement of the 1960s. Disney cornered the market on theme parks in the United States. By 1970, 1971, Disney had a lockdown. So Sharp had an idea to make a theme park called Clock World, which would recreate various times and eras within the park. And he couldn't get funding in the United States. So he went to the island of his birth. It's an island shaped like an X, and the island is called X. So he goes to X and he creates this theme park called Clock World. So that's at the center of the story. But the protagonists are two brothers. The main protagonists are two brothers named Luke and Danny. And they're from New Jersey. They're from Jason's neck of the woods. Luke is the elder of the two, and he completely commands his brother's attention. Little Danny idolizes Luke. Luke can draw very well. Luke can do sports extremely well. He does everything seemingly really well. And Danny's like, wow. He really, looks up to his brother. And this is where it gets really strange. Their father publishes a journal called Park World, the quarterly journal of amusement park industry, news, and analysis. The whole family is really strange because they speak in this odd, flowery manner. Like, if Danny wanted to say, yes, I agree, he'd say, I concur. Or something happens between the two brothers. Danny takes one of Luke's drawings and he traces it and thinks it's different enough from the original that he presents it as his own. And Luke's pissed off. Luke doesn't take too kindly to that. And the dialogue in this section is very, very strange. It was a drawing of a raptor. And Luke breaks into Danny's tent and says, Danny, you claim this raptor? And Danny says, I am sound asleep. And they start, Luke pulls him out of his sleeping bag and he claims, did you dream my hand on your own? Like, it's very, very strange. And Dash really punctuates the oddness of their speech patterns by sometimes Danny's text will be in Old English. And that's absolutely perfect because he's not above saying forsooth or something similar. Like, it's really, and the father and the mother speak the same way. And it's weird. It immediately captures your attention, right? So, Danny and Luke are going at it. Well, mostly Danny's running away from Luke, but Luke is beating his brother. And because he earned accolades from his friends from a drawing that was not his own, Luke goes off to click, right? And eventually it gets to a point where he holds Danny underwater. And the water pushes Danny's earwax further down his ear canal, and it renders him deaf temporarily, but he doesn't know that. So the parents are wondering, what do we do with Luke? Like, these two kids are in Old English, are going at it. So Luke leaves. He leaves home, and he goes to the island X to teach the Xians, who don't speak English. He teaches them English. And 2 years pass with no word from Luke. Doesn't communicate with his parents at all. Doesn't touch base with his brother. No letters, nothing. No phone calls. We don't know what's up with Luke. So Danny becomes of age where the father thinks, well, we'll send Danny to the island to get the deets on his brother and hopefully bring him home. And Danny arrives on X Island to find Luke completely changed. He's more mature in many ways. In a lot of ways, he has dropped all of the vocal affectations that he had when he was home. He's more laid back. He uses vernacular a lot, and Danny just doesn't understand it. Like, this is my brother? Where, he goes into his room and he's looking for all of the things that he had in his room at home, and he doesn't find anything. And so Danny's a bit put off. Like, this is weird. He's changed. And Luke has a girlfriend named Esther. And Danny says, Luke has taken a lover. Not that he has a girlfriend, he's taken a lover. It's so strange.
Yeah, it's like old, like 1950s, like
it's
soap
really
operas talk. Yeah,
it's really weird, but it's charming in a way. That this very insular family who have adopted a way of living, and I think this is the point. This is the entire point of this graphic novel, is that Luke goes to this X island and is changed by the experience. And when Danny comes, he can't help but be changed by this experience. Like, Danny starts drinking and he uses profanity and he gets into like vandalism with his brother. And it's just that I think it's a story of how different cultures can transform other cultures merely by existing. Like, once you steep yourself in another culture, you can't help but pick up some of the mannerisms and the rituals and the day to day of these people. But it goes beyond that. That alone would be good enough for me. But this is a Dash Shaw book. There is something working in this narrative, as well as the content, that has to do with the form that Dash uses. The line is very inelegant. It's almost looks like Sharpie to me.
It is Sharpie, I'm pretty sure. Just
big, thick blackness, just dark mark making, haphazard cross hatching. It's really, it looks like he was on a time limit for Dash Shaw. I mean, the composition is dead on. But the drawing is very matter of fact and strong, but threadbare. So the book is in black and white. That is, the line art is in black and white. And throughout the narrative, Shaw will come in with color and lay it beneath the line art, but not in ways that conform to the layer above it. Like, there'll be swaths of color that do not follow the line work which that accompanies it. For instance, say you have a panel with Danny and Luke, and they're in a room, and the panel is a vertical rectangle. Dash will lay the color beneath it, and in most instances, the color doesn't even conform to the panel. Like, it'll come halfway down the panel and bleed into other panels, and the color work isn't describing anything in the line art. It's almost as if there are two different signals going on here. One, there's a signal that is Dash's black mark making, right? And there's another signal, swaths of color and pattern and altered photography. And sometimes the signals are relatively harmonious. They maybe could be construed as describing what's above them. But in other instances, they don't complement each other at all. There's just total dissonance. And I'm thinking, what is he trying to say with this? Like, the color doesn't yield to the panels. It rarely occupies the entire space of a panel. Half or a third. It's like if the color blew in from somewhere and just settled there. No agenda, no grand plan, just color. And as I went through the book the first time, you can't help but notice it. So I read it again, and I'm thinking, I'm trying to get to the bottom of what he's trying to do with this color. And it's not like the color and the line come together in the end of the narrative. That doesn't happen. It's just that periods are illustrated in color, usually an important scene to the narrative, but there's dissonance, disharmony going on, and I'm wondering what exactly is he trying to say, and maybe I shouldn't even be thinking of that at all, right? Just look at the form instead of what the form means to the content. Maybe in this narrative they're two separate things, right? Because he'll throw a photo of a woman, altered, of course, behind a panel, and it has no bearing on what's going on in the panel at all. And it's like two voices, equally loud, speaking at the same time, and I can't make sense of it. And we would only know if we talked to Dash Shaw, and probably he wouldn't even say then, but maybe he has in an interview or something along the lines.
Damn, we should try and have him on. We've never tried.
Yes, but it's very strange. Did you, having read it, did you feel the same way? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, the book is over a decade old, so I can't say that I have perfect recall of it, right? Like,
so I'm way off with the date.
2013 it came out.
Yeah, I'm way off with the date.
Oh, but I thought the like crazy color juxtaposition against the black Sharpie. I don't know if it's. I think it's Sharpie, but yeah, Sharpie
it looks like it.
Lines.
Yeah,
was like a kind of like the meant to express. And again, I don't know if this is right, so don't like. I can.
What is right? Like, how could he?
But I took it to mean like his way of expressing like the chaos, the emotional chaos of adolescence. Like it's like fucking like your mind is the hormones. Your mind, like you're shit going on. You're raging and you're in love and you're confused and you're like it's just like. But I don't. Again, I have no idea if that's what
it could also be because the X Island is a very strange place with odd customs. So it could be the culture shock that Danny experiences on the island. But then, if that were the case, wouldn't the color and the line gel at some point? Because Danny comes around and he starts speaking and acting more or less in a way analogous to those people on how his brother's acting. And then there's an afterword, and the story comes to a not a real conclusion, but there's a not so neatly tied bow on it. I thought it was great, but it's one of those things that if you're looking for answers as to why an artist does something, that you have to have the answer in order for the work itself to make sense to you, then I would not recommend this because there's no answers. But
I would say that it's interesting you're even asking the question because you're the king and always remind us that why do we give a fuck why someone does what they do?
Exactly. We don't really need to know, right? It could be like Zyrika. The Flaming Lips. Like there's some shit coming out of the left speaker. There's some different shit coming out of the right speaker. There's another stuff coming out of the rear speaker. And you know what I mean? Like there's 4 different sounds or pieces being played concurrently, and they're all supposed to make this 5th thing that is Zyrika proper. I don't know if you're a Lips fan, but you're supposed to play each CD the same time on 4 different devices. And the sounds produced by the 4 different CDs combine to make the thing that is Zyrika, right? And that's kind of like there are 2 different signals here. And they're not working in tandem. And I'm like, what is it's fascinating to me. And I think the execution is perfect. Like, I, as a viewer, don't need to know what he was getting at. All that matters to me as a person that's not Dash Shaw is what this means to me. right? I could be totally wrong, but that answer that I formulate in my head is my answer. So is it wrong or is it right? Who the fuck knows, right?
It's interesting that you bring up Shaw, even though it's an older book, because we have this strange continuity going tonight, unplanned, where Shaw's another creator whose vast preponderance of his career has coincided with our show. Like, Bottomless Belly Button came out in 2008, which is when we started the show, right? Like, so it's, and then, I mean, we've pretty much talked about everything he's ever done. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
More or less.
I mean, what, Body World, New School, Clue, Discipline, Blurry, right? Like, we've covered most of it, if not all of it. So.
And I remember back in the day when we started talking about it, there are those who scoffed at us for talking Dash Shaw. If you remember.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they had a show, and then they went away, and they started the show again, and then they came back, and then they went away. And they were just like, "Why you wait?"
They've been around and then been gone.
Yeah, it's like, why are you even bothering talking? Because this person is brilliant, and it fascinates me, and I think there's something going on here that is more than your run of the mill sequential art. And
I mean, not that
I like being right, but I was right.
Do you? I mean, putting on the spot here because it's not like we talked about this beforehand. But do you have a favorite Dash Shaw book?
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I think that would be silly because they're all so different.
Well, I'm not asking you to say which is the best. I'm saying like you have a favorite. I mean,
I really don't. I'm not being coy and trying to be aloof, but I don't. Maybe the Unclothed Man.
I was about to say the same thing. Yeah, Unclothed Man in the 35th century. Yeah,
just because it's so different and it scrolls, the entire thing scrolls.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's one of the rare online webcomics that made the transition to print that actually works.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah. But I love Dash Shaw. I could read this book, and it's one of those books that, and Fantagraphics did a great job with it. It's oversized, hardcover, beautifully printed, great paper, like yada yada, the standard Fantagraphics, roll call. And I can read it over and over and over, and I'm sure I'll get something out of it. But the thing that won't change is just the wonder at what he's doing with the color. It's so great. New School, Dash Shaw, Fantagraphics. It's an old book. Go get it. Worth every penny, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good on you.
Some really strange stuff going on.
Excuse me.
That's awesome.
What an ending.
You really.
Put the nice little finishing touch on that. The epilogue hasn't come out. Well, at least the epilogue issue. There is an epilogue to the end of the 6-part We Are Yesterday crossover with Justice League Unlimited and Batman Superman World's Finest. And it was, like I said when the event started, it felt like a fun old school JLA JSA crossover from back in the day, and it's wild because what Wade and company are doing with pulling things from back when he started the World's Finest series, and then you factor in some of the Absolute Power stuff, and that's of course when Justice League Unlimited sprung out from. So we're still learning who has different powers and maybe where they came from, but the conclusion, it was a wild ride. It was hectic and fast paced spots, and parts of it I think may have cleaned up or tied up a little too neatly, but still, I mean, as far as moving future stories along, it's fine. It serves a purpose, but we had there was a lot of it was a lot of airwave, of course, because he played a big part at the start of not just League Unlimited, but the start of this event. But we've got a bunch of alternate versions of various characters, and I don't know if that means that Justice League Unlimited is growing with multiple versions of maybe Batman and Flash and Robin and any other character, but you've got they were pulling so many characters from all over. You've got Jonah Hex in this. You've got characters that we haven't seen before, and you've got of course obviously all the Beatles and everybody from the Superman family. It was Batman Beyond is in this, and it's crazy to see Terry McGinnis with everybody else and just fitting in quite nicely. But yeah, and you also have Mr. Terrific kind of going through something at the end of it because of I don't know if I mean I guess he's not necessarily feeling responsible, but I guess Terrific just because he's always trying to find reasons for things. The whole ordeal with Airwave is kind of messing with him, and what happens with Airwave during the closing moments of the whole brouhaha. He's Michael is definitely feeling guilty, and of course, some of our heroes didn't know much about Airwave, but then of course when it was revealed that Grodd played him, and he ends up turning on his new team. Not too many people think that they can trust him anyway, but it was a crazy ride, and it's and the epilogue, or at least the one page here, brings us back to Time Trapper, who we last saw in Superman, and even that now with following that in the most recent issue of Superman, when they wrapped up like 2 years worth of a storyline. You've got the Darkseid's Legion still. They're messing with Time Trapper and they're messing with Booster Gold, but Trapper, of course, is still he's still Doomsday, and he's not going to just be pushed around by 3 Legionnaires, even if they are from Darkseid's universe. And then he dips out, and now they're going to go after him. So I mean, yeah, we've got a bunch of things leading towards. I don't know to say a bunch. We've got things leading up to DC's next event, which I guess starts at the end of the summer. But I'm fingers crossed that this isn't going to give me a reason to start whittling things down, because DC wants to tie everything together, which we were concerned about when Absolute Power ended and All In Special came out, and how everything was so closely and tightly connected. And I'm hoping that within a handful of months' time, we don't have another line-wide event. But the other thing that was really weird, and I didn't mean to jump all over the place, but I did read Absolute Flash number 5, and I wasn't sure if the Absolute books were a shared universe, if they were all connected, but I think they are, because there's a moment in there's a scene in Absolute Flash where things are happening at the Dibney mission, and one of the folks in the crowd says that, oh, this is just like what happened in Gateway City, and which of course made me think of the whole of the tetracide in the water, and so I'm guessing yeah, which then made me think, great, we're gonna probably have an absolute crossover sometime eventually. But or they're just just Gateway City's just a random, vague place to call something, and maybe it's a different Gateway City, and Flash is not in the same universe as Wonder Woman. But I'm not going to buy that. So yeah, I'm just the past couple days I've read things that just all seem to be heading towards a crossover or a tie-in of sorts, and I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that right now. Even though it's comic books and we're always around events that everything ties in, because I mean the same thing's happening over with the Unnamed and everything that Ghost Machine is doing. So it shouldn't be an unusual idea, but yeah, I'm happy when I'm reading. I like it when my books kind of just keep to themselves and I don't have to worry about some big event happening in the very near future, wondering if I'm going to have to skip out on reading some books because I don't want to read the whole event, or just I'm used to living with gaps in collections, but I'd like to read a few months worth of books without worrying about reading everything else that a publisher is putting out. But that's just a random thought. But yeah, I've overall though I've enjoyed the things I've been reading, and they've looked really, really good, which is nice considering we can go a bit with reading books that the art team isn't really up to snuff, especially if they're coming in after an artist established the look of a book, and
well, especially if we're reading Marvel books.
Yeah. That's true. But yeah, so no, I mean, I didn't mean to go from a crossover to do a bunch of other random books that have no connection to each other. But yeah, it was just I guess it's a speed round. But yeah, it was it's been a weird couple of days with some of the things I've been reading. So I have a couple things on tap that I started that I haven't finished, so I couldn't bring them tonight. But I hope to wrap them up this weekend so I could talk about something different next week. But yeah, it's the one thing I did read that I absolutely adore, which is a weird word to use with it. I'll get to it later, but yeah, overall it's been an interesting couple of days reading things from the mainstream guys, because it's sometimes I could focus, and then other times I start going down a rabbit hole that I don't need to go down, because there's no hints that I should head that way, but it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the wake of that, I'm going to second Jason's motion to put a moratorium on the Absolute books. No offense, but we talk about them way too much.
Well, sure.
We do talk about them every week. Yeah.
Every week. Yeah. And it's like, it presents a problem, because like the Ghost Machine books, when the books are so good, like when we're talking about Absolute Batman or Wonder Woman or Geiger or Redcoat, like we've already established that the story, the writing, the art, the design, all that stuff is top notch. So then we're basically just banging through plot details at this point. Yeah. So like we've already been very, very clear that the Absolute books are winners. Let's go like 6 episodes without talking about them.
Oh, hiatus.
Yeah,
what's the word? High absolutist.
But the thing that pisses me off, one of the things, is that I can't put Absolute Martian Manhunter on the featured image because it takes up too much damn space, and I can't put Absolute Wonder Woman because it takes up too much space. It's just
these awe.
Yeah, and then when you fuckers read Below the Trees Where Nobody Sees, forget it. You're not getting on the featured image.
Now you're right on all this. I will say, since Depp did open the door, I will honor this request. But I did post in the Slack today because I was blown away. Hayden Sherman, someone's pouring a drink. Salute. Hayden Sherman posted on his Instagram today or yesterday, maybe, how excited he's been because he's been drawing Twice Up, and he posted an image from some issue of Absolute Wonder Woman but it's two 11 by 17 Bristols taped together, and he's doing this for every page of the book because it pleases him. And I thought, in a world where like people are drawing like on 6 by 9 now, like so they can get shit done.
I saw that too.
That's so awesome. It's so awesome and beautiful. It's like
it is.
It's just
but you have to. He's either beloved at DC, or he either has to scan his own art, or the guys in the production department absolutely hate him. Because if if you give somebody like there's a way of working at DC that these guys in the production department have become accustomed to, right? Somebody comes in and says, fuck that, I'm working Twice Up. Like I said, if they love them, then they'll work with them. If not, then they're going to hate them because you're changing the way things are done. And I know that's progress. You know, let's chew up. Awesome. That's great. But if I was in the production department and this kid starts sending in these fucking massive pages, I'd be like, what? I would guess that he scans his own art, because I would not let someone else piece together two giant pieces of art.
You know who's really happy about the Twice Up art?
Felix.
Yeah. Exactly.
No shit.
Yeah, 22 by 15 original art. For sure.
How could I make even more money on my drawings? Yeah.
No shit.
No, but kudos to him. I mean, if he feels more comfortable drawing that size, go for it. You know?
Yep, absolutely.
When it gets that big, I have a problem with scale.
Interesting.
Keeping everything, it's unwieldy. It's so big.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But hey, he's Hayden Sherman. He does what he wants.
That's right.
And he's going.
One of one. One of one.
He's going in the show notes. Whoa.
Good.
Jason.
Yes.
Talk about some comics.
Well, there is a book. You know, Vince was trying to be clever and bring you behind the scenes. We have a little running sort of list of things we want to talk about, and he was trying to cast aspersions at the beginning. By
what's this trying to be clever shit? I succeeded.
Well, yeah, you haven't been clever since '77, but there is a book that's been on there, and I've just been waiting for a moment to speak on it. But since Vince brought up a Dashaw book, and it's wonderfully, I think absurdist in its nature and hard to decipher by design, and that's what makes it great. It's a perfect time to bring up this book that has been on my list, full disclosure, for a number of weeks since I read it, and that is it's published by Drawn and Quarterly, so another publisher that is apt to make this kind of book. It's Cornelius, The Merry Life of a Wretched Dog, written and drawn by Marc Torices, Torices. He is a Spanish cartoonist. This book was published some time ago in Europe, but it was brought here by DNQ and translated into the English. And it is just a wonderfully obtuse and orthogonal book that part of the reason I haven't brought it up is because it really does kind of defy description.
Yeah.
It's a book where seeing is believing. Like I will, I'm sure Vince will do some, but I will try and at least on the Slack and the Facebook, I will post some images from the book. The triumph here to me is, in fact, the art. There's not like a throughput center story here. Cornelius the dog is basically it's a meta concept on the idea of comics having these characters that we adore for generations. Like in the beginning of the book, there are ephemeral pieces of art and back matter that are all created by Marc. They're all fake, but like meant to look real, that make it seem as though Cornelius has been a beloved character in story and lore for 300 years.
Oh, like Charlie Chan Hokche.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously, it's all bullshit. Like he created Cornelius, but he goes through that process of sort of showing you this mocked up archival history of this character, which I think is super fun when it's done well, and he does it really well. Cornelius is an anthropomorphic dog. He basically is a lovable loser, which I know some of you all are saying, well, wait, Woodrow, you don't really love those kind of characters. I don't often love those characters, to be honest. But in this case, because to me the book is not about the story, it's about this really creative meta experiment about comics and the way that we sort of catalog the history of these characters for generations upon generations. It really worked for me. But in the story, Cornelius the dog is a janitor at a gym. And he's got different anthropomorphic friends, most notably Alpaca, who is the owner of the gym's niece. But like Cornelius is a weird dude. Like he's not like he's kind of just like to a fault, like into his own shit. Like he doesn't really give a fuck. He's not a great friend, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because like
I know people like that.
I was going to make the same comment. I'm 17 years into those kind of relationships. But like Alpaca is kidnapped at one point, and like you would think, okay, this book's Cornelius. Like you would think, okay, Cornelius is going to try and save her. No, he doesn't really give a shit. He just goes about his business. Like basically, like doesn't even like. At one point, he finds the ransom note. He throws it away. He doesn't hand it off to the boss. But like your niece, he just like just cleaning up the gym. He's like, I'm throwing this away.
So definitely not a book for Dab.
No. And like,
wow, I'm looking at the preview pages.
No, yeah, and like things spiral and get kind of crazy, and like he lives with an anthropomorphic frog and an anthropomorphic bird, and he essentially wants to be a writer, but like many people that are trying to be actors or writers, like I don't know that it really comes across that he takes it that seriously. Like in his mind, he wants to be a writer, but he seems pretty content with his relatively mundane, uninspiring life. And you know but the real allure here is twofold. One is this idea of that Torices treats it like this character's been around for hundreds of years, but then two, because of that, the way he generates or renders the art. This is another one of those books, and we've talked about a few in the last few years, where a single artist effectively is making an anthology because he's basically strutting his stuff. He is creating a wildly varied array of different illustration styles, all about Cornelius, even though it's just one person doing it, right? Like it's everything from like pop art graphics to graffiti to really tight crosshatch line work to classic comic strip, like cartoony style. Like he just basically shows off what he can do in this book. And, you know, there isn't, like I said, really a central narrative. In a way, it feels kind of like a comic strip book in that you're kind of just getting like these little windows into Cornelius happening. Sometimes they're connected. Sometimes they like rotate back into the narrative. Other times they really don't. They're kind of one and done. Like I don't really like. There's no central. Like I said, there's no central through line per se. But I thought it was a really fascinating experience. I think it certainly speaks to Torices as I hope I'm saying his name right, as an incredibly talented cartoonist. I mean, be able to render all these different styles so perfectly, and I enjoyed it. You know, I think D&Q puts out less work each year than Fanta. I think though that I will give D&Q credit because I think they take bigger swings, and I don't know that. When you swing big, you're going to strike out more, but you're also going to hit grand slams sometimes. And I think that's where D&Q is for me now. Like, I do try and read the majority of what D&Q puts out, as I do with Fanta. And I'd say, like, if I'm baselining the experience, to me, Fanta has far fewer things that I'm like bummed that I bought, and I'm like, oh, why did I buy that? You know, like, but I don't know that. But D&Q, when it hits, it's like, oh wow, how special is that? You know, so.
Yeah. See, I should think about what I'm about to say a little bit more. Okay. But I think Drawn Quarterly is a more curated experience than Fantagraphics.
Well, they probably. I mean, I didn't do an audit of it for this conversation, but I'm assuming based on just my own, because again, I feel like I buy the majority of what both of them put out. I feel like what D&Q probably puts out a fourth of the.
Yeah, but it just seems like a lot of the Drawn Quarterly books speak to the brand, the Drawn and Quarterly, if such a thing exists, that
Right.
that aesthetic that you expect from Drawn and Quarterly. Whereas with
Right.
Fantagraphics, they'll take a little bit of, like, Search and Destroy. Whoever thought Fantagraphics would publish that? You know? It seems like Fantagraphics are like, yeah, come on in. We'll publish your thing. There seems, especially with the Fantagraphics Underground, it seems that there's a more chaotic array of books from Fantagraphics than there are Drawn and Quarterly. I'm not saying one is better than the other.
Yeah,
it just seems that Drawn and Quarterly may be a little more finely tuned than Fanta.
Yeah,
I love them both though.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the some of the stuff in that book is beyond language, because I have 2 anthologies that I was going to talk about, but I'll save one for In My Travels. They work exactly like that. Like there's not. These things are more about drawing and visuals and feeling and images triggering ideas and thoughts than it is. And then they did this, and then they did that, and then they went here. You know what I mean? Like a more linear A, B, C, D narrative, where these things are more of like how do these images affect you, and what kind of thoughts do they raise? And I love that stuff. I don't like a linear progression. I like to try and make sense of what the artist is doing, other than having the story spoon fed to me. That is the peak experience for me. But that's not what I want to talk about right now. Oddly enough, I have a bit of unplanned conceptual continuity.
All right.
Because New School features an amusement park. And so does this collection. This is called HaHa. H-A-H-A. Sad Clown Stories. Now, I believe I talked about an issue of this when it came out, but I never. This is the collected edition, collecting all 6 issues, written, of course, by the genius W. Maxwell Prince.
Ooh.
Yes, but illustrated by Vanessa Del Rey, Zoe Thorogood, Gabriel Hernandez Walta, Roger Langridge,
Jesus,
Patrick Horvath,
what?
Martin Marazzo, and Chris O'Halloran.
Bro, what is going on? Wait, what?
Yeah.
I probably avoided this in this list because I hate clowns, but
And you don't like Ice Cream Man either.
Didn't like Ice Cream Man.
Yeah.
I don't. But I love all those artists, though.
And you should, because they're wonderful. But what this is, what is HaHa, Sad Clown Stories? Well, it's each issue focused on a different human being who just so happens to have embraced the clown life. It's a story. There are stories about outcasts and underdogs and disenfranchised people and those that have been ostracized by humanity. So basically, you can discard the fact that they're clowns and just focus on the human being beneath the makeup. In my opinion, each issue focuses on a different clown. You have Bartleby, Rudolph, Remy, Gustav, Pound Foolish, and Happy Frank. And even though it's subtitled Sad Clown Stories, and I expect the twist like this from W. Maxwell Prince, because if you've read Ice Cream Man, you know that he's a master of the single issue story, but he manages to twist the narrative in a way that's unexpected, at least to me. I've read some stuff from Prince that I was like, how the fuck did I get here? This is insane. Like I think he's a maestro. Of all the writers working in comics today, I think W. Maxwell Prince is among the best of those writers. And the thing is that I don't think it's very difficult to do a sprawling 10 or 12 issue series. The X-Men head into space, and then they go to the Shi'ar, and then they head out to fucking this other place. And like, you have all of these characters doing all of these things, and the writer has the opportunity to, with the next issue, to flesh out maybe something that was understated earlier, or a plot point that wasn't developed intentionally, develop it more with the subsequent issues. Maxwell Prince does single issue stories, 22-page issue stories. And to do, first of all, short stories are extremely difficult, number one. Number two, to connect with what I think is his extremely high ratio is tough to do. Like, if you only have 22 pages, your characters have to be beautifully delineated. Like, the personality of, you don't have time to fuck around in 22 pages. You have to connect with the reader's chin almost immediately. Like, there's no glancing blows in a 22-page story. You have to put all your cards on the table. This is it, and then get out. And hopefully you've managed, you're successful in your attempt to at least entertain the reader. That's not the status quo with comics these days, right? We get 6, 12 more issue stories, which, yes, they're fun to read, but I think it takes much more talent to wow somebody in 22 pages. And that's exactly what he does in every one of these 6 issues. Each story is different. Each issue features a different clown, and he does the job. He gets in. You know these characters immediately by their actions and their dialogue and their interactions with other characters. The story is played out, and boom, he's finished. And it's amazing. 22 pages. I would want to do it. But so what are some of these stories? Well, in the case of Pound Foolish, which was illustrated by Gabriel Hernandez Walta, I know Jason's going to groan, but this is the story I most identified with because it features an elderly clown, a woman who way back in the day went by the moniker Pound Foolish. And she feels like the world has moved on. She doesn't understand why things cost so much, or why people act the way they do, or why everybody she's known has passed on and she's still around, and she's just basically living her day-to-day life. And there's a group of kids who have this mischief club, and once a year they have to do this mischievous thing, and that keeps them in the club for a year. And one of the kids gets tasked with going into Pound Foolish's house and taking something really creepy. And the story plays out. I won't tell you how it ends or what the details are, because I think you should read it. But it's amazing. Like, it's a whirlwind in only 22 pages. And it features a cauliflower casserole. How could a story be bad if it features a cauliflower casserole? I ask you. There's a continuity to each of the issues that bleeds into the next and the previous. Mostly, there's an amusement park called Funville, and that's where Bartleby comes in. Bartleby's a clown who works at Funville, and the park is shutting down. And his wife is like, "You're a loser. You're a clown who works at a park that's going to close down. You don't provide for your family. Like, why did I ever marry you?" And Gustav's like, or Bartleby's like, "Oh, don't worry. Things are looking up." Like, he's so optimistic, it's ridiculous. So he's let go from his job at Funville, and he goes to cash his last check, and the bank is robbed by these baby mask wearing thieves. And in the process, Bartleby is shot in the forehead. And the bullet magically traverses his brain right in the middle of the two lobes. It doesn't kill him. He survives the incident. He stops the bank robbers. And the story progresses. And I'm thinking, like, this is incredible. This, and when you get to see the bullet enter his brain in graphic detail, the bullet enters his brain, and at first he's very pessimistic. And they go, this is all the shit I didn't do, all the things I didn't provide for my family. My marriage is a shambles. My kids don't respect me, blah, blah, blah. And then as the bullet slowly goes through his brain, he gets more optimistic. And his thoughts reflect those feelings. And he comes out of it not only alive, but obviously changed from the incident, because you can't have a bullet go through your brain and not have something altered in your physiology. And that's reflected in the ending. It's amazing storytelling. Zoe Thorogood renders Rudolph, a exotic dancer who had a mother who embraced the clown life. And there's murder involved and shenanigans, but the mother wants to make a pilgrimage to Funville, because that's where everything's going to be okay. Doesn't turn out that way. But if you're a fan of Ice Cream Man, you need to read these stories, because aside from the cauliflower casserole and other visual things, the 6th issue, featuring Happy Frank, is explicitly connected to Ice Cream Man. So much so that the 6th issue of Happy is included in the 2nd Sunday edition of Ice Cream Man. So you got to read them all, right? There are characters that pop up in the story that readers of Ice Cream Man will recognize. That's all I'm going to say. But man, what an amazing treatise on storytelling. That's what this book is. Like, if you wanted to learn how to write and write well and write pleasing, complete, cohesive, believable, not only stories but characters, like, you need to read Haha, because it's a masterclass on how to write a short story. And I loved it. And it has my girl Vanessa Del Rey.
Yeah, it does.
So there's that,
I mean,
too.
She's actually my girl, but that's...
No, I don't think so. But
who got a bumper from her? I mean...
that no one can hear.
Okay, bro.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You know what? Nah, dude.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're cool. You're cool.
I'm not cool. I'm just being honest. It's I can't use it, or I would have already. Read Haha. Sad clown stories.
I'm a sad clown now.
You're not a clown.
Sad.
All right. Do we have anything else? Did we have anything else, people?
I don't know, do we?
It's a question I asked.
It's a question that needs to be answered.
Okay. If no one has anything else, I'll bring it on home. Thank you for listening, everybody. Jesus, I hate to talk again. I just spoke. If you loved this, or if you liked it, or even if it just made your day in some way, please leave us a review wherever you heard this. We'd really appreciate it. Remember, if you want to get your OGNs, your trade paperbacks, your omnibus editions, your manga, all this stuff, far cheaper than anybody else is paying, go to cheapgraphicnovels.com. I want to hear you guys say it. cheapgraphicnovels.com.
cheapgraphicnovels.com.
My monkey's there, not trained.
Pew, 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 pew.
And check out our Patreon, patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. We would love to have you join the family. This is what I was talking about before. I have been buying these things for many, many years, and I've yet to speak on them only because I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the title of this anthology. It's an S with a Karen above it and an exclamation point. Now, to the best of my knowledge, this is pronounced sh or sh. It is the Baltic Comics Anthology, published by the Latvian publisher. I'm gonna butcher this. Grafisk Stasi. And it's currently on its 55th issue. I'm not completely up to date, but I read issue 50 and 53 for this episode. I love the form factor of these anthologies because they're a paltry 4.1 by 5.8 inches.
Crazy.
Yeah, very compact. You can stick them in your back pocket and take them with you everywhere. They run 160 odd pages per volume, so you get a lot of comics for not a whole lot of money. And Grafiks Stasi really knows how to do an anthology, because not only is there a table of contents delineating each story and the person who created it, but every page is marked at the bottom with the name of the artist that produced it. It's unobtrusive, really tiny text, but if you wanted to know who did the story you're reading, you have nothing else to do but look at the bottom of the page, and there's the name. Like, I think that's absolutely brilliant. It's so simple, but it's brilliant, because how many times we're reading anthologies and you're like, oh, this story is amazing. Who did this? And you got to flip all the way back to the contents page and look, if there is a contents page, and look to see who did it. Like, it's effortless. You know who did the story. And on top of that, they have pages in the back, author bios, in alphabetical order. And after the artist's name, it lists the page numbers in this anthology that they created. That's the way to do an anthology. Do you guys disagree?
Sounds great, actually.
It's actually perfect, yeah.
Yep.
But getting back to the language barrier with art, a lot of these stories defy description. It's about drawing and painting and color and line and shape, and what do these combination of all of the above, how do they make you feel, and what meaning do you derive from those triggers. Now, not every story is like that. In any given issue, each issue is themed, by the way. In every issue, it runs the gamut. You get horror, some sci-fi, some slice of life, some absurdist, some surreal, some social commentary. Like, it's all over the place based on the theme of the issue. Like, this issue that I have in my hands now, which is issue 50, is called 50/50, has Noah Van Sciver. We know him, right? But it also has a ton of artists we don't know. And the best of which, I think, is an artist called Yuma Wang. And they also have the cover image. And it's a simple story about a mouse who owns a bakery, and the bakery's fallen on hard times. No one wants the mouse's bread. And so the mouse has a pet cat who comes to work with the mouse one day and makes little bread. Like, the cat needs the dough, like making biscuits. And people go nuts over the little cat biscuits because they're shaped like paw prints. People are lined up around the block for these little cat breads. And at the end, the mouse wakes up and is like, was that a dream? Or was that real? Or was that the cat's dream? And it's done in a very faux, naive style that is just beautiful and so charming to my eyes. Very pastel colors illustrating it. It just like made my day. There's no deep meaning. It's a baker and his cat, or their cat, because I can't tell the gender of the mouse. But it's amazing. Like it's maybe 8 pages long, and it's so like it took me out of one state and put me in another state, and that state was very happy, very content and pleased. And that's with every story. No, I shouldn't say that, because some of them are very gloomy and very downbeat. But that's what you get when we have an anthology. Like there's a story on page 42 called Half Empty by Zenya Olenik. And I guess Zenya Olenik is based in Kiev. And life in Kiev is not happy these days. And it's the story, I think, is amazing, because the first panel of every page is completely blank. And the second panel is a more comforting depiction of life. Like the first panel, the caption is, "The fields are burning, yet yielding nothing." And then the bottom panel is a person holding their dog. And it's not my husband that was found dead in the hospital. And the second panel is a person laying on a couch with their dog propped up between their legs, and they're looking at their phone. You know what I mean? So it's a juxtaposition of very horrible incidents that they don't delineate. They leave the panel blank, so you formulate that picture in your head, and then they follow it up with a more optimistic view of life. Like it's a beautiful strip, and it's all done in pencil, no color at all. It's great. So if you are a fan of anthologies, as I am, I think you should get on this anthology. They usually retail for about, depending on where you get them, like $13 and change. If you get them right from the publisher, they're $17 and change, but they don't charge you shipping. So whatever you feel. Anthology.
Nice.
Yeah, they're really great.
Wow.
Put them in your pocket, take them to work.
Yeah, I know. Looks like Partners and Sons also, and Son has a few copies, and yeah, they range anywhere from $15 to like $22.
Yeah, I get mine from Copacetic, and they're like 13 and change, but they charge you shipping, which isn't much. So you can get 2 volumes shipped to you for like 30 some bucks.
Okay.
Yeah. Worth every penny.
I like it. We talked about and implored you all to follow along with Exquisite Corpses #1, and the second issue came out, and this one is written by Michael Walsh with James Tynion IV, art by Mariana Ignazi with Michael Walsh, colors by Jordi Belair, and picking right up where we left off with the first issue, and we return back to the little town. It's a little that's been shut down, so they could have this event. We're back at the gas station. More of the players are getting involved with some of the people from the town. Still too early, I think, to see if the residents, how they're going to react to it. But some that are aware of some of the violence, we'll see if they're made of sterner stuff. But we're also seeing more of the players revealed and interact. So it's still early, but still a lot of fun. It's Halloween, and it's just kind of and we also get more of the used car salesman and the way he treats his employee that deserves better. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where this goes. I like the it's not a straightforward same creative team on every issue. It's basically I don't think workshop is technically the right term for it, but it's a group effort. So as it continues, we'll see if that's good or bad. But considering the cast of characters in this book, I think more voices might be beneficial. We'll see. But yeah, and we've got we still have the card game coming out in 2026. So yeah,
get it.
That's right. And we're now down 2 players in the tournament. So looking forward to the 3rd issue, like I said, and hopefully you're going to be getting in on it. We've gotten, or we are getting multiple printings of the first couple of issues. So they definitely hit the ground running, and word of mouth is picking up, it seems. So yeah, in your travels, Exquisite Corpses by Tiny Onion Studios and Company.
I thought it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the fact that there's illegal betting going on within the organization.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it did anything to propel the story all that much.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, Laura's still being stupid.
Yep.
Quickie, Mike is a lucky man. Like there was really nothing that, other than the carnage, which was beautiful to witness. I thought the second issue was a bit of a lull after the first.
Mm-hmm.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yep.
And Damp, I see you'll do bad things. Number 3 on your list.
I'm glad it's a 5-issue miniseries.
I think I'm out.
I want to finish it just to see where it goes, but yeah, I mean, he's realizing something that I think we all kind of picked up on in the first issue.
But it's taking so fucking long.
It is.
It's like,
it is. I know.
Is he or is he not creating these?
Like, right.
Yeah, like shit or get off the pot. Come on.
Right. I know.
And I think the relationship with the dominatrix is like totally unbelievable.
Right, but it's the only thing that's actually like that kept my interest in the 3rd issue.
There's.
I don't know if we're going to see her again, and if not, then I mean, I'm like you, I might be out. But it's we're at the halfway mark. We're past the halfway mark. I kind of just want to see if it is that predictable.
Right. At this point, it's like just from inertia, you got to follow it to the end because it's 5 issues, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I'm glad for image previews.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's just that don't tease me and set up something in the first issue that really I had questions and it was good, and it's nice when something is that vague that you can formulate a hypothesis based on it. But if by the 3rd issue you're no closer to knowing than you were at the first, like come on. It's too much. I don't know.
I'm with you.
Word up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I again, I'm gonna bookend this conceptual continuity, Jean.
Yeah.
In your travels, please read Minor Arcana, which is the new ongoing series, mostly written and drawn by Jeff Lemire. I say that because we are currently 2 issues into a 3-issue side arc where Letizia Cadenici is the guest artist because Jeff had some other things he needed to finish up, but he did confirm that he will be back for issue 10, and he is the main ongoing artist of the series. This is Jeff at his best, in my opinion. It's a compelling, character-driven story in a setting that I think he's very comfortable with. This one, I don't know much about tarot. Vince, I know you know a lot about it. My understanding in my very limited knowledge of tarot is that this book is steeped in tarot lore and mythology, and each chapter is actually based on a tarot card and like the the parameters of that card. Again, that's a little
Yes.
lost on me because I'm not a tarot person.
You are correct.
Okay, but despite not being a tarot person, I find this series delightful. I reread the first issue because I'd read it when it came out, and then I read all 8 issues that have been released so far. The story centers around Torices. She is, I'd guess she's in her mid to late 20s, but she is from a small town. She's been gone from that small town for some time. She returned to said small town because her mother is dying of cancer and needs her to help her take care of her. But her mother's very self-destructive. Even though she's dying of cancer and guilted her daughter into returning home, she still drinks like a fish and smokes a couple packs a day, so it's kind of like, what's the point of it all? Her mom is basically a charlatan, tarot reader, and psychic, making her money off of taking advantage of people in that way. But given her illness, she needs Torices to basically take over that practice. But as it turns out, and this is unbeknownst to both of them when this starts, Torices is in fact a legitimate psychic. When she touches people, she can jump into a dreamlike world where she actually can interact with dead people and people from their past and people from their future, and it's pretty powerful stuff. So we really start to see that whole thing develop, as well as meet a lot of the characters. Torices was in a long-term relationship with another woman in town that she had walked away from. That woman is now married to the local town sheriff, who seems like a really cool, good dude. Actually, it gets Torices involved on a little caper, trying to help him solve a tough case. He seems real based, considering. But I'm guessing over the course of this series there'll be some strife between that dynamic. Torices is a recovering alcoholic who may or may not have fallen off the wagon because of all the shit that's going on. It's fascinating. All the characters are interesting. There's some powerful magic user psychics that are taking note of Torices' abilities and they haven't directly interacted with her yet, but they really are pressed about her and feel like she's a threat to whatever. I don't know what she's a threat to regarding them, but we'll find that out. And she's coming to terms with her powers, learning more about herself, and learning more about the people that come to her mom for help, and now she's actually helping them, like versus like her mom fake helping them. It's great, man. It's I think it's wonderful. It's well structured. It's a fast read. I zoomed through all 8 issues pretty quickly and was left with a massive cliffhanger, which I'm pretty pissed about, because I'd really like to see where this cliffhanger goes, Jeff. I guess I can wait a few weeks, but it's nice to see him back to form, drawing his own book. I mean, it's not like he doesn't always draw, but if I'm being totally fair, I didn't really connect with Fish Flies, which is the thing he's been drawing for the last year and a half, 2 years, through his Substack. It's been published now in comic form as well, but he's been doing that on Substack, and I just really wasn't connecting with that as much. So this is much more my stilo, and I think it'll be a lot of your stilo too. So check out Minor Arcana by the one and only Jeff Lemire.
It's one of my favorite things he's done.
Oh, look at you!
Aw.
Nice.
Yeah, I have been I have been speaking on it because in order to talk about each issue, you have to go into the tarot and get into all that, and it'd be really boring for the average listener. I think it's masterfully done, and
Nice.
the story as well as the visuals. I think his art is perfect for this.
Nice. I wonder if because again, I don't know much about tarot. I wonder if Jeff's into tarot, or if he's just researching it for this book.
I would guess he's researching it, but I don't. There are things within the stories that someone wouldn't, a less experienced person wouldn't know. So yeah, I think
Nice.
if he's researching it and writing the story, he's doing a hell of a job. Again, you can get information from Google and Wikipedia and all that shit and fake the dance, right? But you can tell an authentic dancer, one who's done it for a while, and there's an authenticity to the stuff that, again, if he's just making it up as he goes along based on what he's researched, then yikes, he's a damn good writer.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you, people, for listening to this. We hope you come back next week. We'll be here waiting for you because that's what we do. We talk about comics. We don't have any other lives than that. All the stuff that I talked about, do it. And in the meantime, get yourself to a comic shop. Online, brick and mortar, we don't care. Buy some comics. Hopefully you'll love them. And then you'll go online or in real life. Heavens forbid. In real life, you talk to people and you just spread the joy of comics. Because that's what this is about. In the meantime,
do it.
Yeah, I don't have anything. Well, let me see if I can do something real quick. This is off the cuff. Oh, it's all right. Say good night. Could be anything. And I picked the worst song possibly. Oh, Omar, you're letting me down.
The Omster.
Shit. Okay. David.
Good night.
Yeah, that's not good. It's Omar Rodriguez Lopez. And I screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah, you did.
I did. It's true. I suck at everything I do. Absolutely everything. This wine is good.
There you
Good.
go.
Yeah.
Finna chicken dinner.
Did you see David?
David.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Tell them you love them.
Love y'all.
That's it for that one.